pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Roll it.
Welcome to The Point.
Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? And welcome to yet another. We told you we weren't going any damn where. Welcome to yet another episode of The Point, giving it to you hard and raw, no pun intended. I am Ricky B, of course, your boy, and on the other side of the screen, as you can see, one half of the Universal Tag Team champions. As you can see, he's got a little hardware over his shoulder. The man, the myth, and the legend, A-Stacks.
Yeah, buddy. Lost Horizon came and went. And as we said, right there they are. Coming up the next event, Altered Prophecy. Brett Jacobs, Cryptic One, Cody Bentley. We're waiting for you.
I got to tell you, I don't envy those guys, least.
Me neither.
Now, as we all know, from time to time, the war chain pokes his head up out of the rabbit hole. Sometimes I just can't resist myself. The war chain pulls at my heartstrings. He tugs on the back of my brain, and he takes over this entity, as Matt Hardy would say. Let's just say Glenn Smith's about to catch a battle. So stay tuned for that.
Rest in peace, buddy.
So, long story short, Wrestlemania is the theme of this episode. Now, this is a two-part recording session. This is Saturday night. First half went down. I am sad to report that I did not make it all the way through for the first time in my entire life. But I understand you did. So,
yeah,
I will start off by saying I actually liked the opener. I liked it. I think it was theatrical. I think they played on the fact that the coronavirus has taken out WrestleMania, so to speak, to a certain extent. I liked how they played off of that, their wordplay in the opener. But when it came to the matches, man, it opened up, Kairi Sane, Asuka taking on Nikki Cross, and of course, Alexa Bliss, the girl that everybody's in love with, midget with the fidgets. But, brother, I got to be honest with you. I know these wrestlers, they're putting their whole heart in, their whole ass in. They get paid to do a job, and they went out there and they did the job. But, man, they can't call their spots. The microphones pick up everything.
Yeah.
I feel for them, man. I feel for them. What'd you think of that first match, man?
They did the best that they could in a bad situation. You could tell that they were still kind of in regular match mode where they were trying to play to the crowd and everything else, and it just made it even more awkward and weird for me, man. When you're looking at an empty stadium, WWE didn't even have the courtesy to give them any kind of background noise or anything, and they're trying to play to an empty stadium. It just made it oddly awkward.
Yeah, anytime I know Alexa Bliss, she's not God's gift to wrestling by any. But for her, what she does is outstanding. It's phenomenal. Speaking of phenomenal, we'll get to that later. But Nikki Cross, I'm a fan, but I'm not a fan of all the yelling and screaming. And I wish the women's division would get away from that shit. All the it's not needed. If anything, I think it's a takeaway. And I'll touch on that again here in a minute. But of course, Asuka, we all know I'm a big fan of Asuka. Kind of China. I think she is a little bit of a crush, right? Not gonna lie. Kairi Sane, a little bit of the same deal going on. But them girls, they put on a match. Those ladies, those women, they put on a hell of a match. But when you don't have a crowd there, and you touched on it a minute ago, when they could have piped in some fake crowd noise, okay? Because here's the way I look at it. Everyone knows it's orchestrated, right? We already know there's no crowd there. We know it's orchestrated. So why not pump in the crowd noise, black out the arena, and make it feel like WrestleMania?
Right.
I mean, we talked about this earlier. In my personal opinion, man, if Vince McMahon, I'm telling you, he's shitting all over WWE, because you know as well as I do, if they would have pushed WrestleMania to July, people coming out of this COVID-19 shit would have been stupid jacked. They could have sold ketchup packets for $5 a piece with WrestleMania's logo on it, and people would have bought it. They would have been so excited to be there and see it. I just don't understand this knee-jerk. The show must go on, yes, but in my opinion, it was too soon. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they definitely could have used, a backlash or, a not so great pay-per-view to put in that spot, and at least bump it back 30 days to see how things are going to go, and play it from there. You've got 11 other pay-per-views a year that you could burn that nobody cares about. Well, 9 other. So people care about Survivor Series, people care about Royal Rumble. So you've got 9 other pay-per-views to burn that people expect to be a disappointment.
Yeah.
Why
Don't
not
forget about
take
SummerSlam.
Yeah, why not take advantage of that? Why not burn the pay-per-views that people don't care about?
Right. Yeah, that's my biggest thing. I know we've talked about it. Over the years, there was a time when we were coming up at WWE and WWF. They had pay-per-views, and they were set in stone. They didn't change. The names were the same. They happened same time every year. And then we got into this funky period to where the pay-per-views changed like every year. It's like it's a different name. You remember there was one. What was the one they used to call the Internet or the Cyber Monday or
Cyber Sunday?
Cyber something or another. And it was, and then you had the Money in the Bank, and then you had all these different names. No Mercy. I can go on and on and on. Armageddon. And it changed and evolved so much. What damn difference does it make at this point? And I know you have to think it from a logistics standpoint. You have to plan for it, okay? So if you planned and did put all the money into advertising for, say, 30 days out, I can understand why that would be a little nerve-wracking. Because you put all that money into it, you put all that advertising, you put all the planning and the booking that goes into that, and postponing the matches you have right now, booking in between and making it make sense. I understand that's a headache, because you're not sure if 30 days from now is going to be enough. But to set it out somewhere like June or July, we're all but pretty solid in understanding nationwide from the government down that come July, we should be in pretty good shape back to normal, at least somewhat. Where you can have a half-ass decent crowd there. So, I guess the point that everybody's kind of feeling right now is, when does this shit end? But anyway, getting back to the match, the women's match, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross take the women's tag team championships, Raw women's tag team championship from the Kabuki Warriors. Do you think that's a good move right now? Do you think the Kabuki Warriors are getting stale?
Honestly, I think that it's about time for Asuka to go back on a singles run. She's been long overdue. When they brought her in from NXT, they kind of squashed her, and I think it's time to build on her now.
Right. See, my personal opinion is this. I don't think they have enough women on the main roster to support tag championship.
No.
That's just my personal opinion. I love the idea of women having tag championships, and you have the women there. You just need to promote them. But here lies the problem. Unless you're going to push these shows, Raw and SmackDown, to 3-4 hours a week, which people are already tired of the 3 hours. I think SmackDown's still 2 hours, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you push Raw to 4 hours and SmackDown to 3 hours, you're going to start losing viewers, man. It's hard to keep people's attention, especially at my age. It's hard to keep my attention anymore. It really is. You would think that would be more in line with the younger generation, but it's not. The younger generation still feels it, the magic that they understand. They're locked in tight. We were talking to Junior earlier, tag team partner earlier tonight, and he's younger than us, and he was absolutely jacked for the Undertaker AJ Styles match. And even when it was said and done, you heard him. He's really into the this Undertaker that's going on. All that. He's an Undertaker fan. Me, I'm not a fan. Undertaker should have retired a long time ago. I'm not going to put myself in his boot. Hey, let me get back on track. Sorry. I think Asuka most definitely needs to go back on the singles run. Kind of when she came over here, when she came over here, she took one hell of an ass whooping from Suzuki to leave that country to come over here. The tradition that they have, which I think is brutal as shit. If you haven't seen the video, look it up. Suzuki versus Kana, he beat the hell out of her for real. It was so bad his own tag team partner was trying to pull him off of her. I mean, I'm not talking about show and entertainment. Scotty, you've seen it. It was brutal as shit.
Yeah.
She's truly a beast. But you bring her to NXT, she's undefeated, she's kicking everyone's ass. You bring her to the main roster, and she's shit. I don't understand it. Same thing with Kairi Sane. She's really good at what she does. I see a perfect opportunity here to turn Asuka on Kairi Sane, let her bury Kairi on screen, bury Kairi Sane, and then move her way up. And I want to see her work her way back to Becky Lynch. And I want to see that match come SummerSlam. I want to see Asuka and the man both hyped to the absolute max. And that match for me, even though they put in a lot of effort, was lackluster for me. And again, it's no fault of their own because it's a shit show. There's nothing you can do about it. So, the second match on that card was
That would be. That's
the Sami Zayn match, right?
It would be Baron Corbin versus Elias.
Baron Corbin and Elias. That's right. Forgot about that. That match was not scheduled, was it? That was the match.
They were going to play it off like it was going to be Elias not showing up, and
Was that the match that Gronk made?
yes,
Yeah, okay. Now, Elias ended up taking that match, right?
correct.
Now, I want to understand, I truly want to honestly understand what the point of this match was. You and I both know the point of this match was nothing but a filler. And it's a damn shame. And I'm going to say right here, right now, first and foremost, kudos to Baron Corbin for coming from the NFL. Okay, characters aside, fanboys out there right now, everybody, characters aside, he's playing a character. That's why he's an asshole. Okay, he lost a shit ton of weight and went from NFL lineman shape to what you see on screen.
Absolutely.
And dude is not only doing a good job, he's killing it. He is an ultimate heel. When you watch Baron Corbin and you say, he's a dick. That's the point. right?
Yep.
And this is the point after all. So Elias, on the other hand, I think Elias is a beast. I think he's the second coming of the Macho Man Randy Savage in so many ways and shapes and forms, other than the voice and the flamboyant character. And I think, much like Drew McIntyre, they need to push the shit out of him. But you spent all this time building up Baron Corbin, King of the Ring. And I know it's just the best of the rest kind of shit. They threw him in their storylines because that's all they had. But he's, this whole King of the Ring shit is, you have to understand, it started with Stone Cold Steve Austin. 316 was born at the King of the Ring. And now look what this shit's become.
Yeah.
And I think in many ways tonight may have been the burial of that whole gimmick.
I would agree. It was, it started off at a high point. A lot, they were playing off like he wasn't going to show up. Elias comes out blasting with the guitar, and from there it was just craptastic at best. They need to figure out what they want to do with Elias and even with the fans, because it makes absolutely no sense. The guy comes off as a heel because he'll come out, strum his guitar, insult the fans, and then turns around and does this whole walks with Elias thing. The fans go crazy. How do you insult somebody and then the fans are with you? Are you a heel? Are you a face? What are we doing here?
Yeah, and a lot of that shit goes to the culture we live in now. I swear it does. You wake up one day, you'll have somebody who hates President Trump, right? We don't talk politics here, but I'll touch on this. They hate President Trump. Oh, wait, stimulus check. So we live in a society that's like a school of fish. Depending on which way the water's turning at the time, they're all right there, And I don't know if that's what they're playing on or not. I don't have any inside info on that. All I know is Elias, he's a beast, man. He's got the ability. He's got the look. He's got the charisma. What the hell are they waiting on?
Yes.
I mean, let's be completely honest. Seth Rollins or Elias?
Elias by a long shot.
Curb stomp? Really? The Messiah? Really? So Elias gets the pin. Of course, Baron Corbin tries to put his legs on the rope for leverage. Referee calls him out. Elias pulls the tights, rolls him up, gets the 1, 2, 3. The cheap win, cheap heat. He's out with a W at WrestleMania 36. The next matchup on the card.
Next matchup on the card was the women's championship match.
Damn, I really did try to skip over a lot of this shit, huh? Let me say this. I'm just going to make a real quick observation, turn it over to you. Shayna Baszler. Becky Lynch. This should have been the match of a friggin' lifetime. Not because of their characters, because both of their characters are shit. Let's just be completely honest here. Baszler looks absolutely disgusting on camera. And Becky Lynch, the whole man thing, let it go. Let it go. It has run its course. The last kicker was way better gimmick. I understand the man thing has sold way more merchandise, and that's what Vince McMahon, at the end of the day, it's all about the almighty dollar. We're not talking about an indie show here. But this match should have been over, far, and beyond one of the best female matches you've ever seen in your life.
Yep.
In my personal opinion, it was shit.
It was terrible.
I mean, whether there was a crowd there or not, it was shit. Because I couldn't stay focused. I couldn't stay focused.
And the ending was even worse because in the melee of everything going on, when Becky rolled up over top of her, the cameraman was right there on her shoulder, clearly showing that her right shoulder was up off the mat and still got the pin. Horrible work by the cameraman. Horrible work by the production truck. Ugh.
But the only thing I can wrap my head around with that is if they're planning a rematch, then that was done on purpose, okay? But that's okay. I understand that. If that's the case, fine. What I have a problem with is you had Shayna Baszler. You know, I'm going to say this, and I know it's going to piss a lot of people off, and I don't really give a shit. You built Shayna Baszler up. Now, you didn't put a whole lot of effort into it. She sure as hell didn't put a lot of effort into her shitty promos. But you put her in the Elimination Chamber, and I don't know if you saw that shitty match where she was kind of, up, she's tapped, up, she's tapped. I was barely touching them with the clutch, and they're out. You do all this to build her up, and you get to WrestleMania, and this shit show goes down, and the man walks out still the champ. It makes no sense to me.
No.
What was the point of building her ass up this whole time? Or was Vince sitting back in Gorilla going, we've tried to push her, this shit ain't working, let's go ahead and kill it now? Is that the last you're ever going to see of Shayna Baszler?
I think she's going to get relegated back to NXT and probably going to flounder there.
Shayna, I love you, chick, but something ain't working.
Got
wanna
to
know
put some personality behind it.
You know, you want to know my personal opinion? I don't know when her contract is up, but she might be better utilized somewhere else.
Correct.
Just saying. Asuka, same difference. So the next matchup on the card is that was Sami Zayn, right?
That was, Sami Zayn, D-Bry.
I was right for once. Yeah. Now this is another shit show match that makes no sense. Now I understand the old school mentality of professional wrestling. The Weasel with his partners at ringside, he squeaks out a victory. Okay. But this Sami Zayn thing should have never happened. He's not believable as a face. He's not believable as a heel. He's not believable as a pro wrestler. Sami Zayn is nothing more than a scab on Kevin Steen's knee, and it should have never even happened. He should have never been there. And the fact that he was called up to WWE before Kevin Steen, in and of itself is a friggin' joke.
Yep.
Kevin Steen is 10 times better than Sami Zayn any damn day of the week, twice on Sunday.
One more quick look. That bad boy's getting heavy on my shoulder.
Damn right. So, sexy title. But I don't understand the thought process by Sami Zayn beating Bryan Danielson. I don't see what the hell the point of that was.
I didn't see the point of them putting him over Strowman, but it ended up obviously working out for Strowman. But
yeah, I mean, but there's another point right there. Case in point, and we'll get to that in just a second. What the hell was the point of that? You beat Strowman for the Intercontinental Championship. You see what I'm saying? And I understand the Strowman situation was last minute because of Roman and leukemia, COVID-19. You can't take any chances. Whether you like Roman and you hate him, everybody's tired of the character and all that shit. You got to admire the guy in the real world, behind the scenes. He's a friggin' beast. The fact that he's even still there is mind-boggling.
Yep.
Show his love and passion for the tradition and his family and pro wrestling and the fans. But man, maybe there's a reason that I'm not a booker pro wrestling, right? But maybe they know something we don't.
okay.
I mean, I don't know what to say. At this point, if I'm Cesaro, I don't know why the hell I'm even in WWE.
No.
And Nakamura, I'm not trying to be funny. Everybody talks about, man, when he was in Japan, no, he wasn't. I've seen his matches all over the world. They're shit. Let's call a spade a spade. Kicks, knees, kicks, knees, kicks, knees. This is professional wrestling. And there's a reason Nakamura is a lackey to Sami Zayn. Let's put that in perspective for a minute. He was the second coming of Christ himself not too long ago, and you see where he's at now.
Nakamura was saved and made his notoriety because of AJ Styles.
No shit. Exactly. Get this. Unlike him, Cesaro can actually wrestle.
Yes.
Cesaro is not only one of the strongest men in WWE per pound, he is no doubt a very talented pro wrestler. And the fact that his ass has been relegated to this shit pisses me off, and I'm just being honest.
Right there.
So I don't know what the hell is going on with Sami Zayn, and we'll see. But if I'm Daniel Bryan, to come back, career-ending neck injury, debilitating shit, to go through all that and come back just to be told before you go through Gorilla that you're going to be pinned by Sami Zayn? Nah, bro. There better be one hell of a storyline coming behind that. This is the biggest show of the year. When are you going to have the comeback? You know, this is the false finish, you could say, of the storyline, and he's going to pin him, and it's going to be this grand Daniel Bryan going over moment. When?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're going to blow that, so to speak, right now, I don't know. So the next matchup on the card was, because that was the point where I turned the shit off.
Your next match is going to be the triple threat tag team match that wasn't a tag team match.
I take that back. That's when I turned the shit off. I did watch a piece of that.
In my opinion, that was probably the match of the night. Even though it didn't make a damn bit of sense why three singles wrestlers were going for tag titles. When you get ladders and you put in Kofi Kingston, some crazy shit's going to happen. And if you throw in John Morrison with his parkour style, and you throw in the high-flying Usos, they did not disappoint whatsoever. And the ending, pretty awesome.
Well, I did turn it off halfway through because it got a little stale for me. But I will say this: you heard the bumps in that match. You felt the bumps in that match. You felt what these guys feel. There's no crowd to drown it out. So you heard the full impact. You heard the full impact of bumps on the mat. You heard the full impact of the ladders, to the fingers, to the forearms. Now people have a better idea and understanding of what these guys go through to entertain you. These are legit ladders. Okay? When you see these ladders break in the middle, if you don't want a spoiler and it's wrestling still real to you, damn it, turn us off right here at this point. But, some of these ladders, they'll cut them in the middle, slide a board in there, bolt it in, so they can lay on them and they can jump down and they'll break perfectly in the middle and stuff. That's literally the only gimmick to these ladders. And that's only certain ladders, and they're strategically placed throughout the match, under the ring, shit like that. So I'll say this. Morrison, first and foremost, character's run its course, but man, he's a beast. I don't think the man's had a carb in 15 years. I mean, he is chiseled out of stone. He is very, very skilled at what he does. He's like Daniel Bryan, man. You can put a microscope on him, and it looks real. It looks real. But so tell us, how did that match end?
You had all three guys up on top of the ladders. Us and Kofi climbed up. They unhooked the apparatus that had the belts on it. Morrison jumps up on the ladders. He grabs a hold of the belts. They do a double headbutt. He falls back on the ladder that they had laying like a table. When he fell, he grabbed the hold of the titles. Back first, boom, lands on the ladder, titles in hand.
Sweet. All right, so they retained.
Very hard hit.
Really?
Yeah, they were a good. He fell a good 4 feet and landed on that ladder, and it bounced him about 3 good times before it kind of settled.
Yeah. But it sounds like I'll rewatch it. When I find some more time, get motivated, I'll watch it. It's hard right now. It's hard for everybody, but I think that's the right decision by the WWE, because the Usos can't keep screwing up to save their life, even though they're stupid talented. I think they're the most talented tag team I have seen in years. Other than Matt and Jeff, I swear to God, they're a close second. But you got one of them that can't keep screwing up to save his life. And
Right.
As far as New Day, Vince, let it go, man. That cash cow has run its course, man. Kofi is a singles wrestler. Big E is a singles wrestler. Kofi.
Big E should have been a multi-time world champion at this point.
He should no doubt be a heavyweight champion or heavyweight championship material. He should be in those storylines. Kofi should be in the United States category. And Xavier Woods should be in the Intercontinental in that area. All three of them are talented as hell, but you're holding them down by keeping them in this group, and I think that's not by accident.
Yeah.
I know they're selling a lot of merchandise, but at some point, you got to pull the plug, man. Just like DX. It run its course, just like the NWO. To this day, you pop up at a show with NWO shirts, people are going to buy them. They ain't going to buy them like they did when they first hit. So
no.
It's time to move on to something new and fresh. So at this point, I turn it off, and you're hitting me up, telling me what's going on. What comes up after this tag match?
They did a 24/7 title skit. R-Truth comes out asking Gronk and Mojo, hey, hide me, blah, blah, blah. Gronk throws what looked like probably the worst punch, where his elbow hit Truth straight in the sternum. He tried to go for the pin. Mojo threw him off of him. Mojo Rawley is your new 24/7 champion until tomorrow or Monday. Or, well, hell, maybe tomorrow. But, Gronk caught Truth pretty stout, straight in the sternum with a straight elbow.
Well, I'm going to touch on this for a second. And this episode's probably going to go a little bit longer than most of the ones we've had. But Gronkowski,
he's not a Baron Corbin. They can make that transition.
Gronkowski is not. I know he's new. I remember when The Miz was new. And he stuttered. He stuttered. Yeah. He stuttered and stammered all over the screen. And now he's excellent on the mic. He's excellent in the ring. He plays the crowd like a puppet. So well, in fact, him and his wife have their own TV show. And I don't know. I just don't see Gronk. He don't have any bass in his voice. As far as I'm concerned, man, he was a beast on the football field, and I think this is taken away from that.
Yeah.
I don't think of him like I used to. I think of him as a scrub, man.
Gronkowski, in my opinion, he would be maybe an analyst. Give him a show like they had, backstage. Put him on a panel on backstage with CM Punk, for crying out loud.
Pre-show.
There, yeah. Just like he did today. Let him do the pre-show. But to try to build this dude into a superstar, he's going to hurt somebody is what's going to happen.
He'll have a long road to hoe because
he comes from a business to where your job is to hurt people. to a job to where your job is to protect people to make it look like you're hurting them.
Right.
I don't think he's got that skill set in him. He's used to going 100 miles an hour.
There's a fine line between whooping somebody's ass and making it look like whooping somebody's ass.
Right.
So, moving on, I'm guessing there's only one match left to talk about.
No. There are 3 matches left to talk about.
Holy shit. The shit show continued.
It continued with Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins.
This
All I
is
can say is
Kevin Owens and Jacob Cornette. Is that what I'm
yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Not great. Started off, Rollins kept running from Owens. Cesaro, lost my train of thought now.
Kevin Owens.
Anyway, come to the point where he got thrown outside. Rollins cracks Owens with the ring bell, disqualification. Owens gets up, says he's not finishing it like that. They turn it into a no DQ match. Very anticlimactic.
Your winner?
Owens wins the match. Somehow they gave it a B+ grade, but I'd give it about a D-.
All right. What was your match following?
Next one is your Universal Championship match, Goldberg-Strowman.
Yeah.
Same thing. I broke it down to you in about 45 seconds, I believe. Goldberg hit 4 spears, pinned Strowman. Strowman kicked out at 2. Strowman hit Goldberg with 3 half-hearted power slams. Yelled at him to get up, picked him up, hit him with a running power slam, 1, 2, 3. It was about 3.5-minute match.
I don't know what the hell the point of that shit was. Hey, Strowman's a North Carolina boy. He's a Universal Champion. Congratulations, Braun Strowman. I know there's a party going down.
Knows that Braun is my favorite current wrestler, but unfortunately, you just got set up to be buried by Roman Reigns.
That's right. Placeholder, man. He is a placeholder.
If I was you, I would have told them to stick it when they would have shoved me in that position.
Absolutely. What's up after that?
After that, you have your Boneyard match with Taker Styles.
I don't even know what to say to that.
It was a ripoff of the whole Matt Hardy Broken Brilliance. It started off outside. Hearst pulls up. 2 Druids get out. Druids don't drive, by the way, Vince. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Snooze fest.
They pull out the casket, open it up. It's AJ. Woohoo. He's standing around in a graveyard, hollering out for the Undertaker. All of a sudden, Metallica starts playing. Here comes Undertaker on his bike. They fight it out. Styles throws dirt in Taker's face. Heath finally ends up.
That was the American Badass theme, I'm assuming?
No, this was a Metallica song. I honestly have no idea. I'm a Metallica fan, and I couldn't place the song just because I was bored out of my mind.
Okay.
But he throws AJ into the hole. All of a sudden, you hear, "Hey!" There's Gallows and Anderson, and they're standing in front of what appeared to me to be like the old Bray Wyatt compound. Looked like a barn, and like 6 of these slats. This big bright light comes on inside, and these like 6 slats fall down, and it's a bunch of druids that surround the Undertaker. He fights off all these druids, blah blah blah. Finally, Gallows and Anderson get the upper hand on him. They throw him in the hole. AJ jumps up on a end loader, gets ready to dump the dirt on Taker. Big bright white light shines behind AJ. Up pops the Undertaker mysteriously. Fight it out some more.
So
AJ,
ultimate deletion, basically.
yeah. AJ gets away from Taker, climbs a ladder up on top of the roof of said building. Undertaker follows him. Gallows and Anderson follow him. He beats the hell out of Anderson, throws him off the roof. Or Gallows, rather. Throws Gallows off the roof. Tombstones Gallows or Anderson, and then choke slams AJ off of the roof through some pallets, and then kind of gets in his face, blah, 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 talking smack. Drags him over to the hole, acts like he's not going to throw him in. They hug it out. Undertaker starts to walk away, turns around, gives him the big boot, dumps the dirt in it, walks over, picks up his bandana, puts it on, gets on his bike, gets ready to start driving away, throws up his fist, big fireball goes kaboom up on the building, and then his Undertaker logo is in neon purple up on the top, and he drives away. Roll credits. Did I seem enthused enough?
Yeah, no. Mark Calloway, Undertaker. Listen to me. I'm not what you would say a number one fan, right? But I respect you. And I know you're big on respect. I know the fellas in the locker room are big on respect. I know wrestling fans are big on respect. And I'm saying this out of respect. Let it go. Let it go. Thank you, first and foremost, for all the years of entertainment. I've seen you in person, TV, reviews. I have been all over where you have been, and I appreciate you. My family appreciates you. This country, this world appreciates everything you have done. But you have done enough. It's over. Let tonight please be the end of The Undertaker. Leave your legacy and walk away while you still can walk.
Not going to happen. They put him over way too hard, and I agree with what you're saying, but if not, and if somehow this manages to go viral and hits the ears of Vince McMahon, Triple H, Stephanie, creative, for the love of God, next WrestleMania, give us Taker versus Sting and get it over with while we can.
And let that be it. Let that be an epic build all year, slow burn, build this shit all the way to next year's WrestleMania, and let that be the end for both.
Started at Royal Rumble. No, started at SummerSlam.
Yes.
That's where The Undertaker got started. Started at SummerSlam. Give us Taker versus Sting. He says he can go. Get it over with and let's end this.
True story. Well, a lot to talk about. Took us 45 minutes to get through this first day of WrestleMania. Now, of course, Saturday night, first half of WrestleMania is unprecedented, never been done before, right? COVID-19 taking over the damn world. So we're going to cut this now. Tomorrow, we'll get back. We'll watch the second half of WrestleMania if I can stomach it. And then, of course, we'll come back right after this break for you guys watching. And then, of course, we'll jump back into it. And let's hope and pray to God, not me, inside joke. Those out there know what I'm talking about. And I mean, that was a joke. My God. Let's hope and pray, God, that tomorrow we have a hell of a lot more positive shit to talk about when it comes to the world of pro wrestling and the WWE. Hey, Stacks, any last thoughts before we go to break?
I do not see the second half producing.
If today was any indication, certainly seems to be raining shit on WWE.
Firefly Funhouse. It's going to be another knockoff of the Broken Brilliance. I can already see it now with the way that they went with the Taker match. Probably ends up being Bray Wyatt getting buried, but
It's a damn good possibility.
we'll see.
So,
we will be back in exactly 24 hours.
and for the people watching this episode, we'll be back in about 30 seconds.
That too.
Gentlemen, we'll see you here in just a bit. Hey, Stacks, don't go too far. We'll see y'all on the flip.
Join us next week for another action-packed episode of The Point.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Day 2 of WrestleMania 36 is in the books. It's over. Hey, Stacks, it's over. It's finally over. The shit show has come to an end. We're going to break it down for you right here, right now. So, you saw in the kickoff show, we had Liv Morgan and Natalya. Okay? I don't know why Natalya continues to get shit on, but she does. Liv Morgan, that match, I'm not really going to talk a whole lot about it. I don't know if you have an opinion on it. Natalya is a good technical wrestler. I don't understand why in the hell that she keeps getting buried, but nonetheless, it was what it was. And hell, Liv Morgan beat her. You know, and by pinfall. So take that with a grain of salt.
I think it still goes back to that drunk phone call to Stephanie about 3 years ago.
Yeah, probably. But so the first match on the actual show, quote unquote, is the NXT Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley, the overactor, the over costumed, the over entrance, and I'm gonna touch on that here in a minute. I got a real problem with that these days. Versus Charlotte Flair, the 11,700-time women's champion of WWE, right? And all of her 6 months of wrestling. So, you know, let's go ahead and dive into this match. I said I was going to touch on it, and I am. Rhea Ripley. I understand almost everything in existence has been done before. Okay? I understand that. And the thing I don't understand is if you're going to have something like a Rhea Ripley with her costume and her character and her coming to her entrance and everything that it makes Rhea Ripley's character, why would you then show what she started out as on television? It doesn't make any sense to me because you got pants with holes, designs, chains. You got your hair. It's shaved in some parts, not in the other. And the parts that shaves got designs. You got gauged ears. You got 3 other piercings in your ears. You got tattoos on your fingers. And it's just on and on and on and on. It's just this cluster F of a character. And even when she came to the ring and jumped up on the apron, there's this whole song and dance. It's like, I know this generation is like mesmerized by what they see. You know, this nothing's concrete anymore. Up is down, down is up, left is right, right is left. I mean, I get it. But Charlotte Flair comes to the ring in a gown. She gets in the ring, does her father's shtick, little stutter step. Woo. and it's time to get it in. I don't understand that shit. I just don't, for the life of me, understand that. Now, that being said, I am a fan of Rhea's wrestling ability. And I understand why this match happened. But I don't understand why Charlotte Flair, I do and I don't. But let me hear your take on this match and the whole, because we talked about it behind the scenes a little bit.
I don't get it, man. I really don't. It doesn't make any sense. You just relegated, instead of building a talent up to possibly get ready to go to the main roster, you just relegated your greatest women's champion ever. I say that very loosely. You just relegated her down to the C show. Why?
I think this came down to a matter of Flair has won every title on the main roster that she could possibly win, and 100 times over. And she has been NXT Women's Champion before, but a couple of times. But, you know, you can't, when you overdo something, I think people don't understand that Ric Flair is not a 16-time world champion. He's like a 30-time world champion. The problem is the 16 are recognized by WWE. But nonetheless, those 16 took 30 plus years. She is now a legit, 12 or 14-time champion? And she's been wrestling for 6 years? 8 years, whatever the hell it is. It doesn't make any sense. And I liken that to John Cena being a 16-time world champion. That makes no sense to me at all. That makes about as much sense as them changing title designs every 5 seconds. So, getting into the match. The offense on both sides was great. They put a really, again, kudos, not being able to call their spots as loud as they normally would with the crowds there. I know it's difficult for them and the referee, which, as everyone knows in the pro wrestling business, is the middleman or middle female, I should say, given the circumstances, delivering information. But it was a good match going both ways. The only problem I had with the match, and the only problem I usually have with female matches, is this need for them to scream this primal level.
Yeah.
And that irritates me to no end. And when I see a match where the females are screaming at the top of their lungs, almost for no reason at all, I don't want to watch it, man.
It takes away from the entire match, and it's kind of distracting, especially whenever there's no crowd in there to kind of drown it out.
Right? You remember the Iconics?
Yeah.
Hadn't seen much out of them in a while. They're the worst. They are the world's worst for that mess. And
yes.
It sounded, the Ripley and Flair match, although bravo, because it was a good match. I'm looking at CBS Sports right here. They give it a grade A minus, which I don't agree with, but I'd give it a solid B rating. But they were screaming like they were giving birth to the entire match.
Yep.
And look, when you scream, from being involved in all this for so many years, but just even as at a fan level, screaming at certain points to emphasize pain or to sell, that particular spot in the match, it makes sense. But when you scream and holler at the top of your lungs throughout the entire match, what you essentially are doing is drowning out those spots that you're trying to sell.
Yep.
So, congratulations, whatever, to Flair. It's not like anybody didn't see that coming, but, solid B, no higher for me. Sorry. So
I think that's kind of generous.
the next match on the card, I'm in a generous mood. Well, somewhat. The next match on the card, of course, is at least what I'm looking at here, Aleister Black, Bobby Lashley. Okay? And can we just speak on this right here, right now? And everybody can go ahead and call me an asshole and get it out of the way. When I turn on pro wrestling, I'm a WCW guy. I'm an old school guy. I want to see wrestling. I want to see a story told in the ring through professional wrestling, which includes, not limited to, but includes power bombs, suplexes, running bulldogs, clotheslines, and or lariats, DDTs, pile drivers, okay, frog splashes, suicide dives, holds, locks, figure four, scorpion death locks, Boston crabs. I want to see you work a body part. I want to see a story being told. I didn't see that tonight from both sides of that match.
No.
And I do not understand that. I hear all the time people talk about how great Nakamura is. Shinsuke Nakamura. How they're such a big fan of Shinsuke Nakamura. And they're like, well, WWE's crapping on him. You got to go back and watch his Japan stuff. Well, I did. And all I see is knees, kicks, the same crap that we see on WWE TV. And tonight, Aleister Black did nothing but knees, kicks, elbows, punches. That's all I saw. But I saw on the other side, I saw a guy who looked like a pro wrestler, not like somebody who just, walked out of a soup kitchen. He looks the part. He was all over the place. He with power slams, and he was making it look good. And somehow, some way, Aleister Black, with a devastating kick, takes out the mountain of a man, Bobby Lashley. To me, it's not believable. It's not pro wrestling. What's your thoughts?
I agree. It comes to the point, this isn't MMA, where you can throw a high kick and end the match just like that. There was no story there. That match seemed like it was just kind of thrown together. There's been no freaking build up to it. And then, you throw in the fact of this whole stupid Lana storyline. It just makes it even more weird and rushed and useless to me.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree 100% with that. That's my take on it. It is what it is. So we move down the road to Otis and Dolph Ziggler. Okay? The show off versus one half of Heavy Machine. And we know the storyline here, this guy, with Otis, the whole thing they're doing with, excuse me, I can't remember her name, Danielle Didamo.
Andy Rose.
Thank you. No, the other chick.
Sonya Deville.
Okay. So we know the storyline here that they just recently came to light with the mysterious character. The truth will be told. They literally pulled the trigger on that like 2 seconds before WrestleMania. Literally the day before. But I agree with the storyline because a lot of people in this country can believe in that. And but my biggest thing for this match was it was predictable as shit.
Yep.
I told you, I think, and I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I told you when the match started, I was like, let me guess. The minute I saw Sonya Deville come out with Ziggler, like, let me guess. Andy Rose is going to come down to the ring, get involved, and blah, blah, blah. He's going to win the match. Otis is going to win the match. And that's exactly what happened. So I don't think, if I'm being honest, if there's one takeaway I can say from this, Otis can move for a big dude. He's very athletic. And he does have charisma in a very weird way. And I wish him all the best. But I'm going to give props right now to Dolph Ziggler, man. Dolph Ziggler is not a man that cares about winning and losing. He is about the business. He's about putting people over. And if you think I'm bullshitting, you just look back through the history books and see how many people he's put over. Watch him sell.
Compared to the title runs that he's had, absolutely.
Yes, sir. Watch him sell any injury. Watch him sell any move. It's like The Rock. It's like watching The Rock back in the day take a stunner, man. He sells the shit out of everything. Those clotheslines, Otis was throwing, he was selling them like a Mack truck hit him.
Yep.
And so kudos to him. But of course, yeah, Mandy got involved. She came down, got involved. Otis gets to win. Via pinfall. The CBS, what I'm looking at here, and it just happens to be the website I got pulled up, they gave that match a C+. We gave the Charlotte match an A.
Okay.
So
CBS, you're drunk, go home.
So I think we'll move right on down the damn road to the next match. I don't know where this whole thing's going, but I think there's a lot of guys in this country when they saw Otis and Mandy lock lips was kind of like, yeah, go Otis. We know its story.
Everybody knows this fat guy right here likes to see a big man do great things, and that right there is a great thing to be doing. I'm telling you right now.
So I would imagine that storyline's probably going to be dead. She'll kind of be like his kid sister for a little while, and then that'll fade off.
Yeah.
So the next big match, and this was a match that I really wanted to see, man. You want to talk about how to build up a match, and WWE really did this right. And this is a prime example of how to build a match and how you can build a match if you give it time. And I think they could have gave it even more time. But Edge versus Randy Orton.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Adam Copeland from Asheville, North Carolina. He comes back after 9 years. Royal Rumble. Great spot, other than the botched camera job on the first spear, right? So we go into this. Edge is back now. He's jacked, by the way, and or cut, I should say. And they get into this storyline, him and Randy Orton. They bring in Beth Phoenix, another pro wrestler who just happens to be Edge's wife. And, they get this whole thing going. When it's very deep, very emotional, involving family, involving children, involving all of this, this quasi, you didn't know for sure, but you kind of felt like Beth was coming out to announce Edge was, not coming back. And they played all these different angles, and it's so simple. It's simple psychology. And out of all the matches at WrestleMania, that was the one that, to me, that told the best story. So I couldn't wait to see this match. And that's why. Even with the COVID-19 coronavirus taking over the universe, I couldn't wait to see this. And in my personal opinion, if they would have had this match one-on-one in the ring, it would have been a shit show. They would have put on the effort, and they'd have done their thing at a high level. But it wouldn't have been, without the crowd there, it wouldn't have had the same effect. So I applaud them for doing it the way they did it.
Right.
But I think it went too long.
It was way too long. I think I even said that. That match was drug out probably about 8 to 10 minutes longer than it should have been.
Yes. Well, CBS gave it a C-.
I can see that because of how long it was drawn out, but it was by far, in my opinion, right up there with the tag team title match that didn't have any tag teams as probably the match of the night.
Yeah. Let me just say this. For people who don't know, I am a big time Randall Keith Orton fan. Okay. I am a big Randy Orton fan. I'm a big fan of his father. Man, he reaffirmed tonight why I like him so much. At one point, you saw the referee slip, and me and you, we hit each other up at the same time. He's like, "Did you forget the count?" Or whatever the hell it was he said. And it was just funny as hell, man. And he's just so sharp. He's so smart and intelligent in the wrestling business. Both of these guys are. And they put their bodies through hell in that match. Yeah. Make no mistake. For a man coming off 2 neck surgeries, being out for 9 years, that was hardcore.
That was a great match, especially with the story tied onto it.
And I mean, even the emotion uh, that they were able to. I know Edge was able to drum up actual emotion during the match, tears, and I was like, the acting that actually takes, man, in the moment. Which I mean, of course, he was probably in pain, so it probably didn't take him much to cry. But
Right.
kudos, kudos, man. They went on. They were all over Hell in Creation. They really were. How'd you like the finish?
I really liked it. I really liked it. My only question is is this the end for Edge, or is he gonna? Are they going to give him another title run like they did with Lesnar and all these guys, or?
If again, this is just opinion. This is just speculation. But I think this is a write off for Edge for a while. I think it could be a write off for Randy also. I'm sure there'll be a promo tomorrow night. Well, excuse me, it's Sunday, so Monday night. This would be tomorrow or yesterday if you guys watch it. I'm sure there'll be a promo of some kind, and I would imagine both of these guys will take a little time off. Because Edge at best is part time now. I know what his contract was. I think it was for, was it 2 years?
I believe so.
I think it was 6 or 9 big spots, and that was one of them. So you won't see a whole hell of a lot of them. So, but all in all, good match. They put their hearts and asses on the line, and they entertained. And it was definitely one of the more entertaining spots. A hell of a lot more entertaining than Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. I'm just saying. So
That ain't much.
moving right along, we go to the Raw Tag Team Championship. This, in my opinion, ain't even worth talking about, but it's part of WrestleMania, so let's speak on it. You had the Street Profits, who are the current champs, taking on Angel Garza and Austin Theory. Okay, and of course, exactly, the Street Profits ended up winning, of course, and by pinfall. Or CBS here's got them C plus for the match. I think that's generous. But the Street Profits, I feel like, we've had in our organizations we've been around before, we had JTG make an appearance or whatever. I feel like this is like the second coming, like they're trying to force this second coming of prime time with just a different gimmick. It just doesn't, I'm not feeling it, man. I mean, I'm sure they'll get there. I'm just not feeling it yet. This whole title run, way too premature.
Yeah, I mean they're an entertaining team. Their spots that they had up before they actually got into the ring were freaking epic. But since they've actually gotten to the ring and took the titles, it's just been mediocre at best.
Right. So, congrats to the Street Profits retaining their championships, but we have to keep it moving. Big ass episode. We move on to the SmackDown Women's Championship. I don't know
that one.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell was the thought process behind this, the outcome. And for God's sakes, can we give Tamina a title run already, even if it's for a couple of weeks? I mean, she's there all the time. She puts in the work. Now, I know she's got a little botulism going on, just like she don't hold a candle to Nia Jax on the damn botching. Which, by the way, you'll probably see her make a surprise appearance tomorrow night. But give Tamina a title run, man. I don't understand that shit.
You've got two women on your roster that are actual believable champions, and that are actual believable champions that could actually be believable in the man character and step up to men, as we've seen Nia do, and you don't use them. You squash them. I don't get it.
I don't either, man. So Bailey ends up defeating Evans via pinfall. They were the last two in the ring. CBS, of course, because they're females, give it a B minus. God forbid they don't praise everything the country wants them to praise. They'll catch hell. So they give them a B minus. Now, I'll be honest with you. The match was okay. I liked the spot, what they did with Tamina when they pinned her, with everyone hitting their finishing move, kind of, so to speak, their high-flying move, and they all piled on top of her to pin her. That's actually putting Tamina over. But I think that was basically a consolation. It's like, you're not going to win, so we'll just make you look good. Well, making you look good don't mean shit. I mean, it doesn't. You're at WrestleMania, for God's sakes, and I think she's been around long enough to earn a spot. But I'm sick and tired of seeing the same faces. And I'm going to call out the whole country right now, wrestling fans all around the world. You got a guy like Roman Reigns with leukemia who's out there busting his ass day after day after day, and everybody hates him. Where's the hate for Sasha and Bailey and Charlotte Flair? I know they're females. Ooh, you can't say nothing bad about females in this day and age. Well, yeah, you can, and I will. I'm sick of seeing the same shit over and over and over. This best friend shit. Back and forth. How many times has Bailey and Sasha Banks done this bestie bullshit?
Yeah.
It's getting old. It's run its course. And they had a perfect opportunity tonight to end that thing when Bailey took out Sasha by accident, and Sasha got pissed off and all. When she came back out, she should have attacked Bailey and put Lacey over. And then that would have set up a huge match they could have built all the way towards SummerSlam for Bailey and Sasha. But
it's the same thing with the New Day. It's they're letting their product go stale.
Oh, yes. The New Day is done.
It's been done.
Been done. So again, Bailey ends up defeating Evans via pinfall. She retains her title. And then we move on. We have somewhere in there the 24 title. I knew this shit was coming. We talked about it last night, which was Saturday night for those watching. I knew this, and I believe I even called it on the show, that Gronkowski was going to end up being, and maybe it was behind the scenes, I don't remember, but you knew that Gronkowski was going to end up being a 24/7 champ. And at this point, the 24/7 title is nothing more than a comedy sketch. It doesn't even hold a candle to the Hardcore Championship. And it definitely doesn't look as good. That's saying something.
It's a spot filler.
And so what happens? Gronkowski, the host of WrestleMania that we heard from all of about 3 minutes the entire weekend, jumps off the balcony onto a whole crowd of wrestlers chasing Mojo. And then, of course, he rolls up Mojo, who was devastated from the backwards free fall from the balcony. So, anyway, Rob Gronkowski, if you can believe that shit, retired Patriots tight end and Super Bowl champion, is now the 24/7 champion. So, I'm not going to waste any more of my breath on that shit.
Thank God.
So, we move on to John Cena versus The Fiend, Firefly Funhouse match. I'm going to just let you.
Man, at first, I hated it. I thought it was hokey. And again, it seemed like they were trying to rip off the Broken Brilliance a little bit. But as it went on, where they kind of, Cena, when he turned into, Dr. Thugonomics and he took his shots at Husky Harris, and then they had the Vince McMahon spot, the doll, where he took the shots at John Cena. It kind of made sense to me. He basically, Bray Wyatt was saying, hey, dude, your time is up. You've been burying people long enough. blah blah blah. Your
Explain.
influence doesn't matter here anymore. You're washed up. Toward the end, it kind of, when they started showing the old NWO stuff and kind of showed the whole evolution of, the brainchild, because there's been rumor that John Cena didn't like the NWO when they brought it back to WWE when they did the buyout, and that's why they ended that one real quick. And it kind of told the story of how John Cena has pretty much screwed every major superstar over the last 16 years. And it ended in The Fiend ending it.
Or the fan perception of such thing.
Correct.
I didn't get the NWO thing. I didn't get it. And, if I'm being honest with you, when I turn on wrestling, I want to see wrestling. Period. Cut some promos, build a story, get your ass in the ring. Let's see some wrestling. Not knees, not kicks, not slaps, not putting your fingers in somebody's mouth. I want to see wrestling. And I like Bray Wyatt a lot. I like the Fiend character a lot. I'm a horror fan, and this all this shit ties into a lot of shit that I like. Okay? But that was not a match. That was a vignette.
Yeah.
That ended with him sticking his fingers in his mouth, giving him a Sister Abigail, and that was it. A 16-time champion, nonetheless. Okay?
This is what kind of makes me wonder. I wonder if it was a time management issue where they let that Randy Orton Edge match draw out so long that they had to make up time somewhere. So it was just, okay, Cena's doing his acting career. We're going to make this a squash match to try to, build the Fiend back up, since we screwed the Fiend against John Cena once. We squandered the opportunity to make him the next coming of The Undertaker at WrestleMania against The Undertaker. So since this match drug out so long, let's just do this, make it a quick match.
Well, they had all the time in the world. It's on the network. And we're 32 minutes into recording our second half of the show, and it's 10 after 11. So they had plenty of time, man. And I know a lot of this is Bray Wyatt's brainchild, and I appreciate his creativity. I do. Because he's one hell of a creative guy. And in this day and time, we talked about it earlier with Rhea Ripley's character. And you have to be creative to keep somebody's attention. But, man, tell that story leading up to the match.
Correct.
Tell that story leading up to the match and then have a wrestling match. How do you defeat a 16-time champion? By putting your fingers in their mouth, which incapacitates him, which is not believable in the least, and then giving him a Sister Abigail. You're burying your own brand by saying, all right, John Cena's a 16-time world champion. He has matched Ric Flair in a half the time, a third of the time, and then Bray Wyatt puts his fingers in his mouth and wins. Doesn't make any sense. Now, was it cool to watch? Oh, hell yeah. But it just doesn't make sense in the story. There's nobody that was watching that shit that actually would believe. And anybody who does, please, I'll give you my address. Hit me up. Come by the house. I'll stick my fingers in your mouth and see if you're incapacitated. It just doesn't make sense. It's not believable. Now, when Batista bombed somebody, and he spine busted somebody so hard that he bounced back up to his feet on the reverb, that's believable. This, not believable. But I understand, mandible claw, it's part of the whole deal. But anyway, so Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, gets the win. What's next for John Cena? Guess we'll see.
Even better, what's up with the Fiend now?
Yeah, true story.
Where do you go? Where do you go from there?
True damn story. And I guess we'll see. You want my opinion? AEW. So
honestly, that kind of makes me wonder now that Matt Hardy signed with AEW, the way that they did the Undertaker match and the way that they did the Bray Wyatt, I kind of wonder if that was kind of a slap in the face of how they tried to bury his character over in WWE. And it's like, oh yeah, well guess what? We could have been doing this.
That's right. So we move on down. Finally, we come to the very final main event of this whole shit show that I will admit they made the best of. Okay, they made the best of it because, like with the Undertaker AJ match, which I still haven't watched and I won't. They made it entertaining. They made a motion picture is what they did, not a wrestling match. Which again, it's Wrestlemania. Wrestlemania. Okay, we're all the way down to the bottom. Here we are, Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre. Now, if anybody who don't know, Drew McIntyre has been around WWE for a long time. The man has paid his dues. If you remember correctly, when he came in the first time before he was playing air guitar in 3MB, which was a cluster F, he comes in the door and was deemed by not only Vince McMahon, but Triple H too, as being the second coming of Triple H, being God himself. And then shortly after, they buried his ass. And what does he do? He goes to Impact Wrestling. He pays his dues, TNA, Impact, whatever the hell it's called at the time, and he becomes champion. And he was a damn good champion. I remember watching, and he was believable. He had the look. He had the charisma. He had the move set. Now here we are. What was your thoughts going into this match?
Honestly, I kind of thought it was supposed to be match of the night, especially with the ending from the previous championship title match. I thought surely that they would have one good title match out of this whole show, and we were very, very sadly disappointed.
Your story. You know, I don't want to be one of those guys because I'm not. I don't want to be one of those guys that is constantly beating down WWE, okay? Understand that the Lesnar-McIntyre match would have went down that way whether there was a crowd there or not, okay? So the crowd had nothing to do with their match or the lack thereof. What happened to our main events in pro wrestling, or at least in WWE, coming down to Claymore, 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 suplex, 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 Claymore, suplex, Claymore, suplex, 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 Claymore. What happened to wrestling?
My question is what happened to finishers not finishing? That's the point. It's even in the name. Back in the day when Hulk Hogan delivered the big boot or the big leg drop, Andre the Giant didn't kick out and get back up.
Exactly.
When Macho Man Randy Savage came off the top rope and hit you with a flying elbow, you didn't get back up. When Jake the Snake hit you with a DDT, you didn't kick out. Now it's 72 finishing moves. You might as well just not even call them finishing moves anymore because nobody's finished by them. They're now a signature move, and you're basically telling your fans this is scripted because there is no such thing as a finishing move anymore.
Look, when I was a kid and I saw Arn Anderson drop somebody with a DDT, you knew it was a wrap.
You might as well just head to the car.
Dude, when he had them in the headlock and he did that real quick pat on the back, letting them know it was going down, their feet came up, because they're working in tandem. When you saw him, he was back with just like a crack of lightning, bro, and just a spike and a slow fall over. It was a wrap. There wasn't no getting up from an Arn Anderson DDT. There ain't no getting up from a Batista bomb. And once upon a time, there was no getting up from a tombstone. You know, these are the kind of moves, and I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but these are the kind of moves that, like you said, they're finishers, not signature moves. And even if you're going to have, now back in the day, you had Sting and Flair. And Flair would tell Sting, look, at this spot in the match, no sell my slap, my chest slot, chop. Okay, that's one thing, because that's not your finishing move. That's not the figure four. And you remember back in the day, even when he would do the figure four and Sting would roll over and reverse it, that was the quickest, the closest thing you got to a finishing move not working. But it was still working. You weren't breaking the cycle. And he just happened to roll over, and it was believable. I'm sorry, man. Drew McIntyre, congratulations. Man, it's well-deserved, well-earned. I'm so happy for you. I'm glad to see Lesnar work with you and put you over like he did. Took you under his arm, whatever, under his wing, whatever you want to call it. But, man, so disappointing.
It is.
I know Lesnar's not going to go a 30-minute technical match, but Drew McIntyre can. And I hope and pray that this is a lengthy title run for Drew McIntyre. He's going to get one hell of a pop when he first comes out with that title, when we actually have a crowd. Let's be honest, everybody wanted to see it. Everybody wanted to see it. We're sick of seeing Lesnar, sick of seeing Lesnar and his bullshit, and that's exactly why. Because that's all it is. It's the same reason people hate Goldberg. I love Goldberg because I'm a WCW guy. But that's all you see. Spear, 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 spear. I'm sorry, man. Back then it was cool because he was a young buck. He came in. Nobody knew who the hell he was. And he was just going through fools. But we'll see where it goes from here.
When you see a 20, 30-year-old man that size hit a guy like, Hulk Hogan with a spear, it's believable.
That's right.
But when you're, almost 60 years old and you hit a dude as thick as Bray Wyatt with one spear and it ends it, don't happen that way. Especially when you've got the character of the Fiend that's supposed to be unstoppable.
Yeah. Believe me, I'm right there with you. But so again, WrestleMania 36 is in the books. Coronavirus continues to take over the world like freaking Godzilla. It is what it is, man. It's in the books. It's over and it's done. We'll see where it goes from here. Hopefully, I see Money in the Bank's coming up in May. Hopefully, by the time we get to May, we can have a crowd. We can get back to just, let's be honest, man. Bringing a crowd back is not going to fix WWE's issues.
No.
You're going to have to get back to pro wrestling. You're going to have to get out of this PG shit, or you're going to get PG shit in return. And, I'm starting to see, and I'm not going to go this far, the pipe bomb that CM Punk dropped years ago reigns true to this day. Until Vince McMahon is gone in some shape or form, this is never going to change. And it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. But in the meantime, click on over to TNT, watch pro wrestling. You heard it right here. So, I guess I'm going to have to drop the point on these people.
Yes, you are. And, folks, as always, whatever you guys want us to talk about, since now sports are pretty much a thing of the past, you hit us up. We don't do politics here, but anything else, we'll keep it rocking with Raw, SmackDown, and AEW, but it's getting to be slim pickings around here.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So hit us up, and we'll be more than glad. Look in the description of the video. You'll see all the Twitter account, the email, all that stuff. Hit us up. Tell us what you want to see. And that's a wrap. That's time for me to drop the point on these fools. So, hey, Stacks, I'm going to let you, my man, one half of the Combat Universal Tag Team Champions, again, I'm going to let you get to it, brother. And I'm going to hop on off of here and over to the other camera and drop the point on these fools, these fans, these lovable, adorable people that we so look forward to seeing every week. So, hey, Stacks, it's been fun. Been a pleasure. See you on the flip. So, ladies and gentlemen, what is the point for this week? First and foremost, thanks for tuning in yet again. This show has been a success week after week after week, and it's because of you. But I guess you could say this week the point is real simple. The point is, can we just get back to pro wrestling? Can we get back to what made wrestling great? And I think WWE is missing that point. But AEW is picking up on that point, and that is why AEW is getting better each week. Now, hopefully, iron sharpens iron. WWE will take notice. However, it doesn't seem to be that they are. And I'm going to give you a little side point. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to know we love you and we want you to stay safe and stay healthy. So whether you believe the coronavirus is real or whether you believe the coronavirus is fake, whatever your opinion is, understand this, it is truly, truly killing folks. So please, stay inside if you can, and if you can't, use common sense. Wash your hands, wear a mask, keep your distance, smile and wave, but don't touch. Don't touch. I know I sound like your daddy, but I'm not. I'm your boy, Ricky B, and until next time, it's been your boy, but I gotta run.
Thank you for watching The Point.